Good morning, everybody. Happy International Women's Day. Why don't we go around the round table and introduce ourselves, what we do at FlyForm, and how long we've been in tech for. Nicola, why don't you start?
Yeah, I'm Nicola. I am a business analyst at FlyForm, and I have been working in tech for 16 years now.
Katie?
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm an engagement manager at FlyForm. I've been working in IT across various roles for over 20 years.
Emma?
Hi, I'm Emma, and I have been working in the tech industry for about 5 years. I'm currently working at FlyForm as an engagement manager.
And last but not least, Leah.
Hi, my name is Leah. I've been working in the tech industry for 8 years. I've been working at FlyForm for just 2.5, and I am currently the Chief of Staff at FlyForm.
It was the opportunity to do something that nobody thought I could do. It was an opportunity that came up as starting to work in telephony and be hands-on with telephony systems, and it really suited my sort of problem-solving logic mind, and it just grew from there.
I think for me, I was given 5 years ago, there was an opportunity, secondment opportunity came up for digital champions in a place where I used to work. I used to previously work in tourism and marketing. So I put my name down to try something new. So I became a digital champion where it was working with different departments, looking at ways we could streamline services and we could put services online. That was my first ever time entering the IT world, and I just loved it. And from there, my career's progressed since becoming a digital champion.
Mine started quite young. When I was in work experience, on one of my weeks, I was placed in an IT office in a US Air Force base. I was very lucky. I didn't really do any work as such, but they allowed me to they taught me how to do some HTML and design a web page. And back in those days, you didn't have a fancy app that did that. You wrote HTML. So I was able to grab bits of GIFs and images and colors and fonts and design a web page and see that all come to light. And I just thought it was the best thing ever. So yeah, that's where it started for me.
I think I'm mostly similar to Nikki. So my first introduction was through leaving university and not being sure where to go. I had a degree in drama and theatre arts, so there was obviously a natural progression of where I should go, but I decided that it was that sort of lifestyle and career path wasn't for me. So I actually got caught by a recruiter. They gave me several jobs or job specs to review, and the ones that I found more interesting were the items that were in the tech world. I think it came with progression, with growth, with the ability to sort of push yourself down any channel. And it came with the wider opportunities, I think. So I decided to take a tech role. It was in sales, but still, it was very interesting and challenging industry. And yeah, just stemmed and grew from there.
Similar to Leah, I did drama theatre studies degree, and then didn't think acting was going to be my career choice and went into IT. And I think at that point, not having the belief that I could do IT because I had a drama degree, I think my advice back to myself would be every door opens a new opportunity, and don't be afraid to try it, because just because you haven't got a technical degree doesn't mean you can't be technical or work in that technical space. And push yourself just to try something new, something different, because you just never know what comes next.
I think I would tell myself, like I was looking at myself from the future, and be like the value that you end up bringing to organizations is going to be immense. So essentially go and sit at that table, you deserve a place at that table, and don't give it to other people. Don't shy back. Don't just go for it. So because you've got a lot to offer, that would be the value that I'd offer a younger me.
Blue sky thinking in tech, you can literally take your career wherever you want it to go. And you just need to understand the skills that need to come with a particular role if you're interested in it. And then it's, blinkers on and just keep moving forward. There's nothing that anybody can say to you that can stop you from achieving your goals if you apply hard work.
I remember when I joined as an IT communication manager, I remember thinking, what are all these acronyms? I don't understand. There's a lot of acronyms. Oh my gosh, what is all this about? But not to be so hard on yourself. I eventually overcame that. I learned so much. And like Leah said, there are so many opportunities in IT. I've gone from communication, front of house to back of house, working in capacity, certificates. I've been a project manager. Excuse me if you can hear, that's my puppy. He's playing with a toy in the background, distracting me. But there are so many opportunities, and there's opportunities to try new things. Just don't be afraid to try new things and to accept that you aren't going to know it all. And just take your time and just give it a go. I think that would be my advice.
I think it stems from the education system. So I'm talking now back when I was in the education system, which is a few years ago now, but IT generally wasn't something that was offered up. So I think it's a generational item. And I think we're getting better at it. So speaking with younger individuals, and here at FlyForm, we're working with several universities as well. So I'm in touch with some of those degrees, specific computer science degrees, etc., and those opportunities that are now opening up. But specifically, I do not think it was offered up for myself, and I don't know about anyone else in the room, but it wasn't a career path that was sort of available to me.
If you go back to GCSEs, there are not many girls taking GCSE computer studies. The terminology, the curriculum around it, it's all very focused on computing. And actually, as we've all shown, the transferable skills you get from other curriculum, from other job opportunities that you've taken previous to coming into IT, those transferable skills are needed in technical roles as well. And I think making that path to a technical career needs to be much broader. It shouldn't just be focused on you have to do computer studies to get into IT, which I think is just that preconceived notion at GCSE level. And actually, if there were more tech companies going into schools before the children chose GCSE options, something very close to my heart because my son is just at that stage now, that broadening of understanding of what a technical job is. It isn't just fixing computers. It isn't just project managing. It has a whole spectrum to work in the technical industry. And I think that would be a real change in the number of women we get in IT if you could start to make that change much earlier on.
I agree with that. And I even see that same attitude though in today. Only probably less than 5 years ago, you go into a meeting. I've been into a meeting before, a completely male, everyone was male in the meeting, and go in, and actually I ended up getting, in more than often than not cases, assigned a role of the person to take the meeting notes, or the person to organise the agenda items, but I'm always then was going to be the person who was least likely to discuss anything technical in that meeting as you go into that meeting. So much that I never forget a manager, and actually a female manager, that said to me, "Oh, so you want to be a developer, do you?" And I was like, no, like it took me by surprise. I still think that stereotype, because it is inherent in the education system, has come through, and it exists therefore in meetings today, that these are the roles that you're going to take. And you're definitely like, oh, you want to be a developer, do you? You think you're technical? No, I didn't think that you could be a BA or an architect or a developer if that's what you chose as myself. I don't think thought I could do that.
What we need to do is essentially go around the room and see everybody as equal and take them on their skill sets and understand whom is best placed with those skill sets to do that specific role. So as an example, if I look around the table in a meeting and you know what, I am the best person to take these meeting notes, because I'll go ahead and take them. However, if I feel that we're all equally as capable, I'll open it up and say, right, I did this last time. Do we want to open it up for anyone else to take some notes? It'll be good to get a different perspective this time. And it's around making sure that you're offering up the opportunities that you're being offered to everyone else to see if they do want to take it. And if their response is, oh no, it's not for me, it's not for me, it's not for me, and then it's an opportunity for them to try it. So there's always a couple of angles that you can take. But ultimately, if you're the person in the room that has those skills, then I think you're well in your place to be assigned that role. However, you can always challenge. You can always challenge.
The people that have made the difference are those people that will put you in a role or put you in front of something that you may not feel confident to do yourself. So if you don't have that belief, so for me, the best way of challenging that, and for those people that have made the difference or want to maybe make that transition to making the difference, is if you think that person can do it, they shouldn't need to prove themselves. They shouldn't need to defend themselves and say, well, actually, here are my skills, and list that out. Essentially, if you've got two people there, regardless of their gender, they should both have equal opportunity to be that person front and center in a technical discussion, and they will ask for help if necessary. I do think if you find that you've got that natural steer towards maybe choosing someone who you assume is going to have that, but maybe neither of them have ever shown that skill, try both of them. Try the one that maybe it is the female person that you don't think would be able to sit in the middle of that technical meeting full of some very technical people to steer that meeting. Challenge it. Challenge your predisposed opinion to that, or your judgment to that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And we're all highly organised individuals, this women at this roundtable today. And we do like to ensure that tasks get completed correctly. I think that's the case anyway. So with that in mind, I am guilty of this as well. I do sometimes want to take those notes because I know the best outcome of those notes and I can assign the actions accordingly. But it doesn't mean that I should be the one to take it. And it's to make sure that, like Nikki said, everyone should have equal opportunity in that room. And it's about just challenging the status quo, or challenging what you've historically done as well. I think opportunities that we have here as project managers, BAs, there's an element of leadership in every single role, is that if we do identify that we're committing to these assumptions as well, it's to take a step back, and it's to make sure that we're asking the right questions to the right people. And so that's something that we need to all take ownership of.
And I think it does come back down to those cultural values where everyone can feel confident in challenging and championing. And challenging doesn't have to be confrontational. It doesn't have to, call out someone's inability to identify the lack of equality. It can just be a sanity check. And I think that is really important, that where good practice happens, so sharing out responsibilities equally, everything's skill-based, where diversity is really true, needs to be championed. It needs to be called out, not just accepted as standard, because it isn't standard everywhere. And I think championing it actually then really highlights when it doesn't happen, but it highlights it in a positive way, because then someone can address what they're doing as, hang on, did you think about what you've just said? Oh yeah, I didn't mean it like that. Sometimes the intent isn't always negative, but being able to challenge that intent is sometimes just as good as anything else.
Because I think it's a conversation that comes up more and more, but I think it has to be something that's brought up not just in the workplace, but in groups that you are socializing in, maybe. So we have that discussion quite often as a group of friends, would sort of really have that open discussion around, well, have you thought about this? Because actually it can be difficult to have that in the workplace. You're in a formal environment. Are you always going to be like, oh, that's my job? But actually, if you can do it in as many places outside of the workplace, you will find, I think it will seep into the workplace, so that maybe someone has a different persona in the workplace, but in their friendship group, they're more open to discussion and have those more open to sort of having those chats. So if you know that you, regardless of your gender or you know that you see things, or that you are, I guess, not necessarily, it's not then challenging, is it? It's having conversation, bring it up in the conversation, I guess, take it away from that challenge, but I guess have that conversation with your counterparts, with your friends, with people who are the same as you, or people who are different from you. But I think it has to be more than just in the workplace to make a change. You're in the workplace a lot, but you're also working a lot. So I think it has to be inherent in society for it to make that change and that difference.
I think there's still a lot that needs to change in business to show and demonstrate equality in the workplace, because that inherent feeling of, yes, having to work harder to compete, having to, juggle more, having to do a better standard of things just to get noticed, I think that is still a very underlying feeling for a lot of, characteristics within the workplace across many diversities. I think having more females in C-level roles, in government roles, in just broader platforms where you can see equality is real. Everyone has those opportunities across every role. It doesn't just apply to technical and IT. I think having those role models of, look, I can be, the Prime Minister, I can be a CEO, I can be, the chief surgeon in a hospital, I can be a technical developer. And having those role models and businesses making sure that they have that diversity through all roles at all levels is the only way to start dissolving some of those feelings of, oh, well, I better do this and I better work harder and I need to demonstrate more that I am capable of doing what everyone else does. I think there's a lot of inherent feelings there that it does take time to dissolve, but those are the things I think we need to be focused on to help dissolve those feelings. In 20 years since I left university, I have seen that gender pay gap in pretty much every role I had until I got to an age of, middle-aged age, where I could say I am worth this much. So I think there are roles out there that there should be absolutely no discrepancy, that, between pay, no role should have discrepancy of pay by gender. I think every role should be based on your ability to do it, the years of experience you've got, and what that company is willing to pay that person. It is irrelevant of what or who, how you are. It should all be skills based. I think the inherent historical elements of it are taking too long to get rid of, and that there needs to be tougher exposure, really, for companies that are not willing to tackle it. There has to be ramifications of, if you are upholding a patriarchy that doesn't need to exist anymore, then please just stop. Otherwise, this is the consequence. And I think until we get that real open discussion with that real hefty sort of penalty against it, it will be allowed to happen, behind closed doors, hidden away. You got to shine a light on it, as uncomfortable as it is, and just set new expectations that are fair and equal.
But if you're going into a job and you're not requesting the full salary of what it should be, then again, that's another reason why there's some disparity. And businesses will likely say, okay, so she wants 25k, roles open between 25 and 30, but we'll accept it at 25. That's then the business being guilty of that. And they should say, you know what, no, I've looked at the skills, she's absolutely worth 30k. So that's when the businesses are held responsible. But if the individual looks at the CV and says, oh, you know what, I could be worth 30, but I'm going to go for 35 because I do need a 25 because I do need this job. That's where then there's an opportunity for the business to take that opportunity to pay them less. And so it's definitely both sides are accountable. But Katie, I completely agree with everything everything you say. And I think it's time is a healer for this one, but it could have happened by now. The gender pay gap could be a lot smaller by now.
This is a very, very, very basic message, but I hope it resonates. And it's still from a role model that I look up to as a role model, but it's very, very simple. You do you, be you. You don't need to defend your position. You don't need to be like someone else. You don't need to be someone else. You need to be you. And actually, I strongly believe that if we all are ourselves, don't want to use the term best self, yourself, just be yourself. You do you, in a very non-passive aggressive way. You be you, and you will end up being and showing your values, and you'll also get that sort of that will reflect on other people, because hopefully they will be themselves, and all of a sudden we're in a world where everyone feels it like it's okay to be themselves. And I think if you go in and you go and be you, and you are less defensive around that, then I do think, I strongly believe that you will be successful, because you're happiest in your own skin and you believe in yourself. So it's a very simple message, but yeah, you do you.
I think the right type of confidence, there's loads of different types of confidence, but the right type of confidence comes through acquiring knowledge. So I'd absolutely say if you are someone looking to break into the tech industry, it's asking questions and retaining that knowledge, and then moving forward with that knowledge, and yeah, just doing the job as you would want it done. And obviously not holding back, etc., and then proving your value, but making sure that you're asking those questions along the way, because there will come a point where you'll come across something that seems quite heavy and quite difficult to navigate yourself around, and you might get a smidgen of imposter syndrome, just a tiny bit. But it's if you're asking questions along the way, that imposter syndrome will just get smaller and smaller, and you'll become more knowledgeable, and you'll become more confident, and you'll be able to know your value.
I think we all get imposter syndrome though from time to time. I still get it, and I still need to learn how to overcome it. I think in the tech world, it's an exciting world. It's a world where you can learn so much. You always have to keep learning. You always have to keep adapting, because it is evolving very fast. But that just opens up even more opportunities for you. So I would recommend anyone give it a go. It is an exciting world to be in. I've had so much opportunity because of it. Yeah, with the imposter syndrome, you will get over it. You will learn those skills. You will get there. As you said, it's all about knowledge, acquiring that knowledge, and just keep going. Yeah, I would totally recommend anyone working in the tech industry. It's a good place to be.
Over all my years in IT, I've seen just massive leaps forward. I think the last 5 years has been the most progressive. I think 5 years ago, I changed roles and I took on managing a team that had women in the team, in a technical team. And that's the first time I'd ever worked with other women in IT. So it has taken a long time to get more diversity. I think it's really important that continues, and it really has pace and attitude around it, about it's good, it's fun, it can happen, there are no barriers. We have to start helping, getting that confidence for, women to approach these roles and know that they can be really good in them. And there's just, that whole focus on challenges that could have been there in the past. Those times are gone, those times are changing. And I think for me, that's my biggest thing about International Women's Day, is times have changed and are still changing, and we're all here championing that.